What's up, guys? I'm going to talk to you about Doomsday Clock. So, before you shoot me and yell at me and just complain, I enjoy this series. Okay? I'll get that out of the way. So, I know I titled it Strong, but I had a reason. And the reason is not because the series isn't good. It's because DC has failed to really keep up the hype, if that makes sense. So, last year we shifted from. Okay, well, we'll start further back than that. When Rebirth started, we heard rumors that there was going to be this huge thing with Dr. Manhattan, and it came from Rebirth issue number 1, which was awesome. Just an amazing issue. I still have mine. I read it every now and then, just to get the experience back. It's just a great issue. Now, with that, there was this anticipation because they had laid out hints of what was coming, and so we knew that there was going to be this huge crossover between DC and the Watchmen universe. Which I'll be honest, the Watchmen I don't care as much about. You can criticize me, that's fine. It's not my favorite, but the premise I thought was interesting. Here we have this huge big bad who's controlling everything, and we're just waiting to see how it's going to happen. So, and then Mr. Oz showed up. People start disappearing. We're like, who's this Mr. Oz? Is that Ozymandias? And so the theories go back and forth, and everybody's super excited. And we finally find out, oh, it's Jor-El. That's who it is. It's Superman's dad. Well, before that, they did this Superman Rebirth where Superman gets infused with his other self. It's a really weird story. So something to the effect of the Superman we had was hopeful, and the Superman of Rebirth was the other half of Superman that had no hope, and they needed to merge back together or something weird like that. I don't know. It's really weird. And then they came back together, and we had the full Superman back to the way we like him. And which he had been the whole Rebirth, really. And then we had the story with Tim Drake, where Tim Drake meets his future self, and they're both captives of Mr. Oz. So Jor-El has taken them and held them prisoner for some reason that we haven't figured out. At least I don't remember. And so. Yeah, and then that story was really awesome. We're like, okay, what's next? And then nothing. After Jor-El was revealed, we knew who he was, what he was doing. We had that whole story with him and Superman. We did have an interesting story where we saw a future of John, and Mr. Oz did show up in what's it called? Man of Steel. We also got where Superman went to Krypton in the past to see if somebody really saved his father, if it was really his father. And then that kind of got all tangled up, and we never really got an answer. And that was it. We haven't had anything else except for the Doomsday Clock. So we knew the Doomsday Clock was counting down. And that brings us to the Doomsday Clock. So, we're finally at issue 5. This started last year. Like, almost a year ago. I think it started in like November, September, or something like that. Somewhere in there. September or November. I think it was November. Which, what was that? Like 9 months ago? And we're on issue 5. So the first couple issues came out pretty on time. So November, December, we were really excited. Really interesting story going on. Again, like I wasn't super tied to um, the Watchmen universe, so I was much more excited when they got to DC universe. I will say, this is me personally, and I'm fine with disagreeing. Some of the politics that they've thrown in there, I know that they're doing that because it's the Watchmen, but it just doesn't feel like the DC universe. I'm like, maybe if this is like a parallel in the multiverse, one of the other multiverses. Oh, let's not mention that they also mentioned that they threw Metal in there, and that lasted way too long. By the end of Metal, I'd say that I didn't care. I was just like, can we get it over with? Because once you've bought like half of them, you're just like, well, I'm invested now. I've got to finish this thing. And I'll say it was a good last issue. I enjoyed it. There's a lot of crazy stuff that happened. Honestly, I like the after effects of Metal, or the side effects of Metal, better than I enjoyed the actual series. Some of it was good. I like the tie-ins with the Resistance. So you had all the guys fighting on the ground in Gotham. That was a lot of fun. A lot of the crossovers were good. I enjoyed those better than the main series. Which, you know, I enjoyed the main series. It was just so drawn out. I was like, can we finish this thing already? Like, they just kept postponing it to where I didn't care. I was just like, I'm ready to be done. Like, just give me the end. And it gave us Hawkman back, so that's exciting. And I feel like we're having the same problem with Doomsday Clock. The problem with DC is that they come up with these awesome ideas, but the execution is flawed. Doomsday, this was a good issue. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, especially seeing the Joker. Like, and this is a Joker that I like. A lot of the Jokers these days I don't care for, but this Joker is I like him. I like the way he looks. He looks like the Joker to me. And there's a lot of cool stuff in here. Like, I love that we get the Alan Scott's lantern. That was really great. I love that we have Johnny Thunder, I think is his name. Really great tie back to the old comics. We've got Saturn Girl. That's really interesting. You've got all sorts of really interesting players showing up. Like Firestorm shows up in here. You got Black Adam. Just a really interesting story. Again, the politics is not my style. You know, I don't mind politics in comic books. I just don't feel like it makes sense that everybody in Gotham hates Batman. I will say there was a really great point with what's the guy's name? He's flying over Gotham with Batman. He says, "What have you done for Gotham? Like, it's not a better place." I was like, that's a really great point. Like, you know, I don't understand why all the mob is after Batman. That makes zero sense to me, because it's Gotham. Like, he's the only thing that's really keeping Gotham from being ruled by the underworld. But and, you know, making the villains run in fear. But so I don't understand why they're attacking him. Makes no sense. But the guy made a good point. So, but then you have like them finding the Green Lantern, which is cool. And at the end, you see like what's his name? The new I forget his name. This guy. He's asking what is this lantern? Can't remember off the top of my head. It's really bad. I've seen the movie. Anyways, I'm sure you're like, yeah, I know who that is. But I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed the book. I've enjoyed the series for the most part. But the biggest problem is, I'm like, oh, there's another Doomsday, yippee. And like, I haven't really cared to read it. Like, when I read it, it was good. I enjoyed it. But I was just like, I don't really want to read that. Like, there's no excitement left. When you wait 9 months for the 5th issue, I mean, it's been like a 2-month wait since the last one. And they've spread it out so far. I'm just like, who cares anymore? You know, we haven't heard anything about Dr. Manhattan. Mr. Oz shows up, but, you know, nothing has happened. There's been nothing that has happened since Rebirth. It's almost like they just forgot about the main story of Rebirth. And I'm like, this sounds a little bit like, what was the one that came before? Convergence. I was like, is Rebirth gonna fizzle out like Convergence? Like, are we gonna get an end, like a story out of this? I don't know. So, I mean, at this point, if it takes another 2 months before we get Doomsday number 6, I'm just gonna be like, I don't care. You know, why do I need to be interested in this? Like, you haven't given me anything. Like, I will say, it is an interesting cliffhanger. So, I'm definitely getting issue 6. But you're gonna have to step up your game, DC. I know the story should be good. It's Jeff Johns himself writing it, so it's got to be good. But you haven't drawn us in, and then waiting 2 months for every issue is just too much. Wait is just too much. I mean, we need some consistency. So, write the book. You're professionals. Write the book. Get it on time. And yeah, there you go. You know, we want good comic books, and this was a good comic book, but it's not interesting if we have to wait so long to read it. If there's nothing like really drawing us in, this book's gonna flop before it's over. It's similar to what's it called? How I feel about Mr. Miracle. I love that series. I feel like that's the best Rebirth title that's come out, other than maybe Superman. So, my 4 favorites: Green Lanterns, Hal Jordan the Green Lanterns, Superman, and Mr. Miracle. Those 4 have been phenomenal. I love them. There's a couple issues here and there that aren't great, but overall, it's just really great. Problem is, Mr. Miracle just takes so long to come out. And then, like, the last issue, which I loved, well, I wouldn't say loved. The last issue, which was good, I enjoyed. It wasn't great. It has a really great story, but then there's like 5 pages at least that you could just tear out and it wouldn't affect the book as a whole. And it's just like, we waited a whole month for this. Like, that's it. But I'm giving hope. Like, Tom King, I feel like he's a hit or miss, and sometimes he knocks it out of the park, sometimes he swing and a miss. So I'll wait for that next hit. You know, it'll be great. It's kind of like similar to this wedding thing. We focus more on a wedding that didn't happen than we have on the whole story of Rebirth that you've been building up for the last 2 years, 3 years. So get your act together, DC. I love DC. You're my favorite superhero universe. But I mean, you need to draw us back in. We need something coming to get us back interested in Doomsday Clock, so that when I'm reading issue 6 of Doomsday, I'm hyped. I'm super excited about it. Not just like, oh, great, there's another Doomsday Clock. Yippee. We'll wait another 3 months for the 7th one. And then, because it's 5 of 12. And if it's taken 9 months to do 5 of them, that means it's going to be another 1.5 years before we finish this stupid thing. And like, Rebirth started in what, 2016? Like, we're waiting, what, that'd be like waiting 3 or 4 years to get the conclusion of this. You've got to get it. You got to get it done. You got to get this done. You have 7 months. Just get it done by January. That'd be perfect. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. The issue was good. I have very few complaints about the issue. So don't hear me say that the issue was bad, because it wasn't. Too much politics for me that I don't feel like makes sense in the DC universe, but that's okay. You disagree with me, that's fine. Some people like the Watchmen more than others, and that's great. The issue itself was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed reading it, and I love some of the minor DC characters coming back in, but just like the overall approach that DC has had for the last year, the last 9 months or a year for the Rebirth story, that is what I'm complaining about. So I'm not complaining about the issue. I'm complaining about the overall tone of DC right now, and their strategy of writing the books and putting them out. So let me know what you thought. I want to make that clear, because I don't want a bunch of people saying, "Oh, well, the issue was great. I loved it. You're stupid." I'm like, well, it's not the issue that I had qualms with. It's the fact that it takes forever to come out, so that I don't even care about the issue. Because like the reason Doomsday Clock was so awesome is because we're like, oh, it's gonna answer some of the questions that we had about all the Rebirth. We're going to finally figure out who has changed everything, who caused Flashpoint, who caused Flashpoint, who caused Rebirth, who caused the New 52. We're going to finally figure that out, but it's going to take 2.5 years to get there. No, please no. I don't want to wait for 2.5 years to figure out that. If this was movies, that'd be one thing, but this is comic books. They come out every week. We should not have to wait 2.5 years to figure out something that you started a year ago. So let me know what you think. I'm going to get out of here and go to bed. So I will catch you next time. Peace.